yes, Not of Earth, an EP, was basically like a collection of songs. It was a bit like Incesticide by Nirvana in that there was no initial concept. It was just like, how do we put some stuff together so we can keep people fascinated, hopefully, what we do until a later release, which will be coming out later in the year. So yeah, that's my take on Not of Earth. How about you, Rob?
I think you've got more to say about it than that, John. But
Okay.
um, just yeah, like I agree with that. The initial thing, it didn't have a specific concept. It was, here are songs that we have that are at a certain level of recording. We wanted to do a little bit of experimentation to see how we could tweak certain things and how we could improve them. A lot of the drums got rebuilt for them and resampled from other parts of the same song. And so yeah, a little bit of an interesting process in terms of kind of going into some old material that we hadn't visited for a while and trying to see what we could try to see where we could kind of push it. But I feel like that was where it started, but I do think that and this is where I say, John, perhaps you have more to say about it. I do feel like through the process, like a kind of concept for it did sort of emerge.
Mm.
Do you want to hear
And
what the concept is?
I mean, I don't know if
okay.
she does. I want to hear what the concept is.
Well, I think we're obviously post Sergeant Pepper, so there's this weird burden of, well, you can't just put songs together. There needs to be a concept. What do you mean there's no concept? It's just songs. What do you think this is? The 1950s? You're fucking with our brains here. So I think at some point I wanted to have a concept, and I think Fine Sky Night is literally a song about trying to get away from the urban chaos that is the city and find a different place to experience oneself, i.e., the woods and greenery that's kind of like alluded to in the song. And then the next song after that on the EP is The Mothership, which is a kind of spin on the whole alien abductee tale. Now, if you're aware of anything in pop culture when it comes to alien abductees, especially because of the prism or the lens that we see them through, normally through, like, say, Mulder and Scully, it's like you don't really want to be abducted. You want to come back. It's like, shit, man, don't take me away from Earth. Don't do things to me. In this song, the abductee's like, no, take me back. I went somewhere and I don't want to come back. Because I think for a lot of people, especially artists in the now, the last place you really want to be is on Earth. Obviously, an
Mm.
escape is not like a long-term solution, but it's popping up everywhere, whether it be us or, say, the last dinner party, where artists will put together an idea that they don't necessarily want to be here. So whether they project themselves theatrically into, like, say, an aristocracy, or they project themselves into space, as we did, then there is a sense of that feeling. And I think asking for permission for the art from Emma Steele was kind of a way of actually envisioning some of that escapology. So
I was
yeah,
going to ask you about the album cover because
sure.
it does look very like out of Earth kind of space. I don't know. I couldn't really tell what it was, but I think
Okay.
that was probably the point, right?
Okay. The main point of it is because let's face it, we like taking you behind Oz's curtain from time to time, but not everything, because sometimes the smoke and mirrors is fun. Um, Rob and I didn't have much time on this EP. Like, we had so many different things to do. So it was very lucky when it came to imagery that I was taken by Emma Steele's art, which is she'll go to a place out of London and she'll take her long lens camera and somehow create these things that shouldn't exist. I mean, she says that if you go to where the landscape is of the picture that we took, or
Mm.
she took her imagery for, it doesn't look like that at all. It looks very mundane, just like a couple of rocks. But in this, it just looks like some strange other world.
I mean, so
And
the
more,
original picture was,
the
wait, so
original picture
it's
is
a real picture.
it's a real picture. Yeah, 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 yeah. Like, it's not something that was created artificially. She even sent me a lovely paragraph about where that picture is, 4 lines or so. So I can send it to you afterwards. But essentially, it looks like somewhere that isn't here. And coincidentally, Rob and I were taking a train journey to his new place. in Reading, and we were discussing what we were going to call this fucking thing. Like, and we figured out that, last time the God's Hate Colossus is great and everything, but we needed to have something which, if you Googled it, you'd only come up with us. So we thought it has to be something that was like, it had to be one syllable, but being us, of course, it wasn't going to be
Because
one
there's
syllable.
about 17 other bands called Colossus.
Exactly.
Even
So
though we're the original.
Yeah, obviously.
we
You
are
guys
the original. Yeah,
the
yeah,
main
we are.
one.
Yeah, we actually are. In 1997, find me a band called Colossus. If you can find one, then I'll say, fine, that's it. I'm wrong.
Get
We'll
back to
call
you if I
ourselves the
do.
Nebulous Brothers or something. But for now, we're Colossus, the only Colossus that should be.
There we go.
But yeah, we needed another title. So we called it Not of Earth, but we put all the words together. Ta-da!
SEO decision.
So in general, the whole kind of vibe of the album is this about wanting to use, is it about trying to use music to go somewhere else that's not on planet Earth, or is it just more about the concept of just not being on planet Earth?
I think the first two tracks were an acknowledgement about us realizing that being here is a very tough endeavor, but you have to somehow come back. We just didn't write a track about coming back. So in that way, it kind of like connects to the Beatles, because if you look at the Beatles track listing on Sergeant Pepper and Paul McCartney's submission, like, yeah, we wrote the title and then we thought we'll just do other stuff. And at the end, it's like, oh yeah, we'll write like some kind of reprise, and then they put A Day in the Life at the end. So you don't really have to stick to a concept through and through for it to be thought of as that concept. The image, the title, and the few tracks are all you really need.
Yeah.
Go get it.
I think, again, it wasn't a ground up approach. It was us kind of taking things that we already had and kind of like curating that into a concept. But I think a lot of our conversations over the last while have been about a lot of the problems that are facing the world at the moment, and how it's not necessarily the place that you want to be. And so, yeah, wanting potentially to get away, and if it's in your mind, or if it is physically, or if it's just wanting the space around you to be different enough to go on a journey.